Welcome back to another episode of Black Facts. Today I have the opportunity to speak with Miss Jessica Bruny. She is a certified mindfulness life coach and a certified sound healer. We're going to talk to her about that on another episode. But I want to just start out with, okay, Jessica, please just break down for us. Mindfulness is like the buzzword: mindfulness, self love, self care. What exactly do those three things mean? Are they the same thing? Are they different? Can you just share with us what exactly mindfulness means?
Yes, well, thank you so much, Michelle, for having me on Black Facts. I'm excited to be here and to really share the importance of mindfulness. When it comes to mindfulness, yes, it's a buzzword, but I think it's a word that also has been missed from our culture, right? For me, growing up, I really seen the hustle and bustle of life. I grew up with, a single parent household, but as a collective, overall was like the youngest of 14 of a blended family. And
Wow.
so I've seen many, journeys of just roads that I didn't really want to take. I didn't want to be about like becoming a hustler, or it's like hustle or grind till you die type thing. Or, you maybe even heard a statement like, oh, you'll sleep when you die. Like for
Yeah,
me, that
right.
wasn't
That's when you
really,
can rest.
yeah, like I wasn't mindful. And so I was able to really observe, right? I was able to sit back and observe, but not absorb that lifestyle that I wanted to be a
Mm,
part of.
I like that.
And so I co-created a new world for me. And mindfulness was that. So if anything, mindfulness saved my life, right? I was able to really be, it's like mindfulness is the quality of being aware, right? So as
Hmm.
I'm sharing my story with you all, I was able to be aware of a lifestyle, of a hustle mentality that I didn't want to be a part of, that I really wanted to implement something new. But also, yes, it's a new buzzword, but also, like I said, it's something that's been missed from our culture.
Hmm.
And so it really, I really encourage others when it comes to mindfulness to really just take time to analyze things, right? Approach things in a calm manner, to really observe and not absorb things, to not take things so personal, right? But really just see where is this energy coming from? What is lacking in my life that maybe something needs to be added to, right? And so that can even go into self-care, right? And self-care is really a personal and a cultural like experience for oneself, right? And it can really change over phases of your lifetime. It's never going to be the same. I mean, I'm 30 years of age, but right at 16, my self-care routine looked really different from where I am now. I'm able to figure out, as I mentioned earlier, what I'm lacking, and then maybe seeing what I need to add into, right? Maybe I need to spend some time alone. Maybe I need solitude, or maybe I do need company, if I'm going through like a process of grief and I just wanting to like have like that experience of understanding my human experience, right? As a as a human being. And so, overall, when it comes to self care, since it does look different for everyone, as we see a lot like a social media, maybe a fad over it, or just like a lot of people posting what it could look like for them, it's just to observe but not absorb. You have to go within yourself and really take action to improve your overall like well-being, right? Where that comes from and what it really looks like for you. And so for me, even this year, one of my great friends, they were asking me a great question. They were like, oh, what is this chapter called this year for you? And I was like, it's going to be called Know Thyself.
Mm,
It's going to be called Know Thyself on a deeper level. And that takes me into self love, right? Which really is defined as love for self.
yes.
And really having that deep appreciation for knowing that I'm worthy, knowing that I am enough, knowing my value as in what I do bring to, into this world. And so on a day-to-day basis, I think self-love is a daily act of maybe even forgiveness, right? Self forgiveness, to know better and to do better. as well too. So even though that these are really buzzwords or we're seeing that a lot, I think it's just because it's been lacked in our community.
Oh, I so appreciate you right now. I really do. I appreciate you talking about mindfulness and being aware and observing and not absorbing other people's energy. Self love, just knowing thyself. And I love that you said that that's what you're going to be doing or being intentional about this year. And then self care, you're right. It looks different at different ages. It looks different for different people, and all three of those are lacking in our community. So thank you for breaking that down and really giving us words, right, to put towards what mindfulness is, what self love is, and what self care is. So, how is mindfulness good for our growth and development? I think
Mhm.
you kind of answered part of that, but what would you say? Why would you say it's so important for us to be mindful for our growth and development?
So I think for me, I actually created a theory where it's a term that people have heard before, right? Trick or treat. And it's really about the mindset of, are we going to trick ourselves into believing that we can't become a better human, or we can't develop new habits, or we can't actually let go of new things? So are we going to trick our mind that we're not worthy of like a new level of success? Or are we going to treat ourselves with kindness, with compassion, with care, and knowing that, maybe let's take it day by day. Maybe let's not be such in a rush, such in a hustle to get there.
Mhm.
Maybe it'll allow us to like really respect the process and trust the process. And so I think it's so vital that mindfulness is a part of our growth and development, because it allows us to focus on one thing at a time. And then it allows us to really also take time, or which I think is so important, to really reflect about how things are really like how things are effectively working. If I'm implementing maybe a new routine, and do I really see myself growing in this area of personal development, or am I lacking? And so I think with the theory of trick or treat, we have to really look within, and then also be aware of like our daily habits, the people that we are talking to, our support system. Are those conversations treating us nice? Are they either tricking us out of a greater opportunity to become a better person? um and then, just trick or treat, right? This like kind of even goes back to that self-talk.
Yes.
um, how are we treating ourselves? How are we talking to ourselves? That way that we can show up really for others authentically. Um, and also with that same compassion that we give to others, that we can also have for ourselves. So it's so vital that we have mindfulness, a part of our everyday growth, I truly believe. Because it then allows us to be present with ourselves, and be able to be present with others too.
How would this like fast paced
Mhm.
society, in which is all of the honestly the trauma that you see on the news and that you experience on a daily basis, just like I said, all of the tragedies that are happening as it relates to police killing, killing our black men, racism we, face in school or in the workplace or just out in the world. How do we not trick ourselves into kind of a victim mentality? How do we stay mindful in those in the midst of that?
Yeah, I think it's connecting back to our breath, the energy of our life force, right? Our breath. Um, there's so many times that I've dealt just recently, with things coming to trick me out of a situation. Oh, there's this trials and tribulations, and maybe it doesn't. Maybe it's not working. Am I forcing it, or am I in a state of flow? And challenge when those challenges come, or when we're seeing things on social media, um, that could really play that victimhood. I think maybe it's time to be mindful. Maybe it's time for us to be connecting to our breath and being able to maybe not see this news. Maybe I don't need to go deep dive into the news report or see that video. Maybe I need to get back and maybe I can meditate on the good or the positive, or I can send healing energy into those negative circumstances, things that you at the end of the day, it's like you can't control. um, and really knowing that, and just knowing your place, and just also knowing who you can count on and to consult with, I think is very important. Um, or it's just like, why me? Or when I am seeing things online, it's like, for example, with the killings of our black men or black women, it's like, why our community? Why is it just being? It seems like it's a program to maybe just even continue to traumatize us and keep us in this like dark place. But that's why I say it's kind of important to remember your breath, because it's the life force, and also remember the light that you are in this world. Remember to not give up and know that you are a powerhouse. That you do have resources that you can reach out to as well too, and just knowing that community is so important.
Thank you. You said something that made me think about how we started with knowing thyself. So you made a comment about maybe you don't watch that video or maybe you don't turn on the news. And I know that that's something that I've been intentional for my own self to protect my mind and my heart and my soul. I particularly in this last incident with the killing of Tyree, I chose not to watch the actual video. I heard
Same.
it on the news and I was like, okay, that's as much as I can take because I know myself. And I know that if I watched that video, that trauma would play over and over and over with me and over again with me, and I would not be able to, you know, let it go.
Yeah.
So I made an intentional, choice not to watch the video, which I've done with several other things too. And I limit the amount of news that I will watch. Like I don't keep watching the updates in the news. I figure out, when I need to step away, I do that. So I appreciate you saying that. So to all of our viewers, if you could say it again, that we really need to know who we are and how we need things that we need to do to protect. It's okay to protect our own well-being. We don't have to look at everything. We don't have to comment on everything.
This is very true, and definitely, my love goes out to Tyree's family and his loved ones. I think this even too is like they try to paint, like, I don't know if, like I said, it's just like maybe a program, or they're trying to put emphasis on just like the officers, who did the crime, and it's just like I couldn't just even get deeper into it. um a lot of even my activism work, I mean, even got stronger from George Floyd. And we created virtual space, which was called a day of healing, and really brought community together to talk about those instances and talk about what's going on in our community, but also uplift and share organizations that could be of support. And so, when knowing thyself and knowing what you need is definitely so important during each season, and being able to definitely reach out to organizations that are uplifting and in creating that healing, safe space for each other.
You said too, centering and going back to your breath. Are
Yeah.
there any breathing exercises or just one you could share with us or we could go through together just so people can, understand, well, what does that mean to, focus on my breath or go back to my breath because that's my life force. And I don't think people really understand what that means because a lot of us take very shallow breaths. We don't even realize that we're doing that, that we're not giving, we're not fully expanding our lungs and taking real breaths to sustain our life force.
Yeah, I can take you guys through box breathing. You're going to inhale for four of a four count. You're going to hold that for four. You're going to release on an exhale for a four count and then rest at a four count. So I'll walk you guys through it. And if you are watching and you are like at home in a seated position, or maybe you're on the couch, just go ahead and like uncross your legs, maybe remove all distractions, and make sure your feet are planted but your back is also supported on wherever you are. And I just invite you to place one hand on your heart and then one hand below your belly, and just you're going to want to breathe from there, from your diaphragm. So you're going to breathe in on the count of four. One, two, three, four. Hold. Four, three, two, one. Exhale. One, two, three, four. And rest. One, two, three, four. And just repeat it at your own pace, breathing in gently and holding and exhaling gently, just becoming aware of your mind and your body and your spirit and the sensations that you're feeling. And at your own time and space, when you feel comfortable, just come back into your time, into where you are, and just feel maybe a sense of light, of feeling lighter, right? Of feeling like you've released some of the tension, some of the stressor, some of the anxiety that may have been built up from the day. And just be able to learn that the box breath is can also be a way of letting go of all the worries of today, or maybe even the week or the month that you've been holding on. But knowing that we can come back to the breath is so important, and knowing that repetition of the four count of the box breath could be very helpful as well for you.
Thank you. Thank you for walking us through that. So, I have another question that I'd like for you to kind of help us work through. So, how do we show up for others and ourselves, but specifically for others when we want to be mindful?
You know, this is a really great question. And I think when it comes to mindfulness, I think it should maybe be the other way around, where it's like, how can we show up for ourselves
Mm,
and then others?
okay.
Because as I was sharing this chapter of life for even myself, is to know thyself. And if I know that in the past I've experienced burnout, which we've seen from, our culture, is like, how can I just continue to run, and maybe be a people pleaser rather than making sure that I'm protecting my peace, protecting my energy, protecting my mind. And so when we really show up for ourselves, then we can be honest, right? We can be speaking our piece. And then when we're showing up for others, we can be actively listening, right? We can
Mhm.
really be respecting ourselves and them as well at the same time. And so for me, it's really been like, I've been big on community, but I had to know that like, are you okay though, Jess? Looking in that, doing that mirror work, are you have you done your due diligence today? Did you start on the right foot? Do you need for somebody to pour into you today rather than pouring into them? And so
Mm,
just really being aware um, every day, especially if others are calling on you, and especially if somebody is saying no, just respecting that and not really taking that personal. Maybe they're at a place in their life where they don't have the words to yet explain to you, so all that they can give you is a no, or it's like, it's just not right now, right? Or it's a no as far as the next opportunity. Maybe, I can't go out to lunch with you or dinner to you today, but maybe let's try back in a few weeks or another month. Giving that, I think it's so important that we give ourselves and even our loved ones that space to be able to, as they navigate as well through life, right? This is the first time for everything. And so I think to move in grace is just so important, how we continue to show up for ourselves and even others.
I love that. And thank you for kind of redirecting me and saying that it is important for us to show up for ourselves first. Because you're right. If we don't take care of ourselves, like that saying goes, put your own oxygen mask on, right? Before you're able to service and take care of your loved ones. So thanks for, like I said, redirecting me that we do need to show up and take care of ourselves and be intentional about that before we can be there and show up for others. Is there any other things that you'd like to share with us about how we can be intentional about being mindful?
Yes. I think I would love to share with you guys, right? One thing that we do, possibly everyone does every day, is eat, right?
Yes.
But if we've heard the statement before, we're living to eat and not even eating to like live.
Correct.
And so we have to live a life of mindfully eating. And really, there's three things that you can already begin to implement, to trying out either today. And that's really just eating more slowly with your food,
Mhm.
right? Being in a rush, making sure you're chewing your food properly. And it's like really breaking it down to digest even more within our bodies. And then removing the distractions, right? When you're eating, are you even being aware of like the seasonings, of the flavors, of everything that you're really consuming? And not to be like you have a burger in one hand and your phone in the other, right? And it's just like, yeah, your hands are full. It's just like, no, like let's not do that. Let's be able to be present with both hands, praying over a meal, even eating over a meal, exploring the colors, exploring everything that's there, and being able to enjoy that meal, and even the people that are around you, right? Being able to possibly spark up a conversation or have eye contact with that other person. And then so the third one is just really to stop eating when you're full. Like, so definitely eat more slowly, removing the distractions, and stop eating when you're full. Because if you're overeating, that's when we can experience obesity. And then it can lead into other, conditions that, I mean, as far as our community faces, like diabetes, high blood pressure, and things of that nature, which, we want to avoid. And so I know that I'm looking to co-create a world where I can be mindful of the things that I'm eating and consuming. And last year, I actually was introduced to how you can be eating right for your blood type. And
Mm.
that really was a game changer in my life as well too, because as I got older, as I was sharing with you, I just turned 30 last year, but I'm just experiencing, I'm digesting things differently, right? I'm tasting things. I'm like, this doesn't taste the same. This doesn't, it's not, it doesn't feel the same. It doesn't give me the same energy that I used to get. So I think it's so important that if you are getting, going back to, get some blood work done, that you definitely ask them if you can get your blood type. And then just making sure you're advocating, like you're your best advocate. If you're eating things and you have a household that you really want to try maybe a new recipe, maybe it could be plant-based focus or veganism, that you allow the people that are in within your home to know that you are on a journey of self exploration, and that you would like to invite them and to be able to see the possibilities of trying new things out, right? And not just kind of having that guard up, or even that subconscious thinking like, oh no, I could never be this, or no, this would never taste good. It's really about the seasonings that you're adding. Also, as I mentioned, just your blood type, how you'll be able to digest things, and just be open to experiencing. I know that even for me, Next month, I'll be exploring veganism and more plant based focus,
Mhm.
and just wanting to see. For me, I'm always like, I wouldn't say like I'm like a self development, like, I don't know, just not like a junkie, but it's like I love self-development so much ever since I was young. That's why I got into psychology and explored, human development, because I would wanted to know myself so well. And I think that's what for me, as I was sharing with you all, that my chapter this year is Know Thyself. But it's like I'm even reintroducing myself into a whole new life that I want to co-create, of new energy, of just new life, and you can wake up and choose that. And so
Yes,
um,
absolutely.
having having that access and knowing that ability, I just encourage everybody, as you're also doing mindfully eating, that you're also mindfully listening into your own intuition, and don't ignore that.
Oh, I love everything that you said. And I'll have to talk to you later about embarking on a plant based lifestyle because that's me over here. So haven't gotten to veganism, but I have several friends that are vegans. I totally support the plant based lifestyle. Love that you. I'm going to end our episode on this because I loved how you talked about being mindful about eating, and what we put into our bodies and eating slowly, which I know a lot of us do not do, and removing distractions. I can say I'm guilty of that one. I think I eat at a good place. I do taste my food, but removing distractions, I'm going to work on now because the
You
computer is in front of me at all times. So, removing the distractions and just really being mindful about the food that I'm putting into my body. I do, like I said, have a plant based lifestyle, but when you're stressed or when you're not being as mindful or as intentional as you want to be, you may not be eating the most healthy uh, things because there's a lot of things that, desserts that, right?
the sweet potatoes,
Right.
sweet potato pies, banana pudding, the pound cakes, all the things,
Exactly.
the cookies, the donuts, all the things.
So we need to be first mindful about what we're going to put in our mouths, eat it slowly, and savor it and remove the distractions. So I thank you for bringing that to our attention because it really is important, and for you saying, each day is a new opportunity. It's a new opportunity to reset, restart, do it over again. And I'm going to be more intentional tomorrow about resetting and restarting and doing some things differently. Because yeah, today is gone. Some of the things you said really resonated with me that I was not intentional about, I was not mindful about. I thought about some things that I didn't want to do, but I didn't listen to myself and did them anyway. And they did not serve me well. So I appreciate you, speaking to me as I'm sure you're speaking to all those that are viewing. So I appreciate you joining us on this episode of Black Facts. Jessica, you have been a joy, a wealth of information, and I'm going to have you back on because I really, really want to learn about sound healing. I want to explore that with you. So thank you all for tuning in to another episode of Black Facts. Please like, share, and subscribe so you can stay up to date on new and upcoming episodes. Join me next time for another engaging conversation, and let's know the facts. Take care, everyone. Bye.